that's so interesting. One is write down your plan, write down your life plan, write down what you want to do. The Bible says, write your vision down and make it plain. Write down your life plan. Trust in God every step in the way, and then just be the best you. Be the best you that you can be. Everyone else is taken. Be the best you.
You are here. Welcome to the Purpose Finder podcast. This is the show where we uncover why you are truly here and, more importantly, how to make it your reality. My father, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, said the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose. And research further shows that people with a strong sense of purpose are 2.4 times more likely to feel fulfilled. Each week, I sit down with extraordinary guests, entrepreneurs, artists, thought leaders who are boldly living their why. We dive deep into their journeys, the struggles they have overcome, their breakthroughs, and the lessons that can help you do the same. I am your beautiful host, Charissa Monroe Wilborn, and we're about to explore the mindsets, tools, and strategies to help you live a life with purpose, passion, and legacy. Are you ready? Let's go and dive into the episode. And we are back for another great episode here on the Purpose Finder podcast, where our mission is simple: to inspire you to find and uncover your entire life's purpose and to live a life overflowing with three things: meaning, fulfillment, and significance. Why are these important? Because deep down, we all crave belonging. No one wants to feel unfulfilled. And we are all searching, asking the big question: why in the world am I here? I hope you allow your search to end right here on the Purpose Finder podcast. I am your host, Charissa Monroe Wilborn, and today I have the amazing, incredible honor of sitting with a great friend of mine who is doing her thing in the fashion world. She is killing it, and she is living out her purpose boldly. We're going to dive deep into her story, her journey, and some lessons she's learned along the way. Help me welcome my great, beautiful friend, Loren Hicks, the CEO of Michigan Fashion Week. Loren, my
Wow.
dear, my
Oh
sister,
my goodness.
my really, really good,
Oh,
amazing friend. It
I'm so,
is so good to have you.
yes, all the way from Detroit, Michigan. I am glad to be here today.
I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you for saying yes. I know you are busy
Absolutely.
doing your
Yeah,
thing, and
I had to make time for this. When you told me that, when you said this, I was like, absolutely. I would love, it would be an honor for me to be on your show. So I'm just glad to
absolutely.
be here
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, we're just going to have an amazing conversation. We're going to talk about all things fashion. We're going to talk about all things uh, motherhood. You're going to share some about that and just about your journey on this road and pathway to purpose. So I'm excited for what the ladies and gentlemen are gonna hear and learn and glean
today. Yes.
from this interview. So
Yes.
I'm not going to read a bio. They certainly don't want to hear from me, but I know that they want to hear from your heart. So
Mm,
from your heart, let us know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and all that amazing stuff.
absolutely. So my name is Loren Hicks. I am the founder and CEO of Michigan Fashion Week, and Michigan Fashion Week is one of the largest fashion weeks here in the Midwest. And so I've been in business for about 13 years now. So every year we just have an exciting fashion week. We have fashion events, and we also have programming throughout the year for people who are looking to really get into the fashion industry. So we have wide arms, so we're just taking over the Midwest as far as fashion. And then personally, I am married, have two beautiful daughters, 7 and 9, Lillian and Lizzie. So that's a journey in itself. And I'm also helping my parents in the ministry. My father's a pastor, and my mom is currently in politics. So I'm just being a support to my parents however I can. And so, but my main purpose in life is my business, is my Fashion Week business. I mean, it's just not a fashion show. We're in the business of building people. We're building their confidence. We're building their business. So it's just so fun to be on the journey to help people and be a light that are in the fashion industry. You know, I get the question, well, how are you mixing this with ministry? I am the light that people will maybe never see. I am the God that I am a God that they never can see. They can never see Jesus, but I'll be the closest they get to it, and I have to share Jesus as I'm continuing on this journey.
Absolutely. And you
Yes.
mentioned two P's. One
Yes.
of them you and I share, that
Yes.
your father's a pastor and you and I are really, really close. We grew up from young ages because our fathers were really, really good friends,
Yes.
both pastors. So we're pastors' children. But then you also mentioned that mom is in politics. So you got
Yes.
pastor and you got politics. What has life been like in a home with a pastor and a politician,
It's so, it's full of life. It's always something to do
to
every
say
day,
the least, right?
to say the least. It's always something to do. It's always a meeting to go to. It's always an event to go to. It's always a call to be made. It's always moving, moving, moving. So I couldn't ask for a better life. It was just always fun to me, meeting all these people and getting introduced, and it's just a fun. It's a never ending cycle. So even now, I'm out of my parents' house, but yet I'm still around all the time with everything they're doing.
You
So
still are very close with both of your parents,
yeah,
especially your mom.
I am. I am
I
very.
admire the relationship that you have with your mom, even at this age.
Oh wow, and
And
it's so funny
of
when
course, my mom is no longer here, but her and I had the exact same relationship. And then my mom and your mom were, woo, like
yeah,
sisters,
we're like sisters.
like
They still are.
sisters. And I shared that same type of close bond with my mom.
Yeah,
And so I think that's a beautiful thing to still be able to have that relationship with your mother, even
absolutely.
though you're out of the house, even though you have your own family. It's
Yeah,
like nothing having a older woman teach the younger women. The
yes,
Bible talks about that. It's
yes,
nothing like having someone who you still have respect for,
absolutely.
highly respect. They're like a mentor, so they're teaching, they're pouring into you.
Yes, yes.
And I know your mom to be, and as a politician, your mom is a strong woman, but
She
she's
is.
still a woman. She's still feminine in who she is.
Yes,
Beautiful, beautiful spirit. I
and
love her. Shout out to mom.
shout
Hi,
out to my mom.
Ancilia.
I just learn so much daily from her. She doesn't even know that she's teaching me, but I'm watching everything. And for her to be, like you said, so powerful, but yet still so feminine and still be a great wife and a great mother, it's just incredible to see her.
And with you having two girls who are now doing the same to you,
Yeah.
imagine that these two girls are now watching you, even when you don't think you're teaching them.
Hmm.
They're watching you, they're learning from you, they're gleaning from you the good and the bad habits
Yeah.
that you have. And so let's talk about that, because you are really, really big in the fashion world.
Hmm.
Guys,
Hmm.
you need to go and look up Michigan Fashion Week,
Yeah.
Loren Hicks. The girl is doing big stuff, okay?
Thank
But
you.
she's also a mother and she's also a wife. So
Hmm.
Lauren, let's talk about what that journey has been like. Um
Absolutely.
being a mother, and I'm sure it hasn't always been peachy clean, hasn't always been picnic in the park. Do you mind sharing how it is being a mother and also being a wife, especially when you're the CEO of just this brand that's amazing?
Yes. What I've learned and what I've learned to do is really just incorporate my family in my business. So
Mm.
there's some times that I might have a corporate meeting and I tell my kids, put on a cute shirt, put on some cute jeans, you're going with me to my meeting. So I have just incorporate just my business, my family. So I mean, all of my events and everything like that is family oriented. So I've just trained my kids up from a very young age to, you know what, if dad is busy doing something, you've got to come with me and you've got to come with me to this event and come with me to this show. So I've had fun just bringing them along with me on the journey. However, I do really try to find time for them. Like during the summer months, I'm not doing a lot with my business. I'm really just mom, kids are out of school. So I've learned it from my mom to just really live your life in seasons. I have my seasons for where I'm really heavy working into my business, and then I have a season where I'm pulling back from my business, focusing on my family. So I've learned that's been my really, really life lesson. It's just living your life in seasons. You know, there's a season to work, there's a season to reap, there's a season to spend a lot of time with your family, and then there's a season where I have to tell the girls, hey, mom is going away for about 2 or 3 days, you're going to hang out with dad, but you can call me, I'll be there, we'll text message. So just really living your life in seasons, and really finding that balance between your family life and your work life, and just making it all just work together.
And what was your journey to coming to that resolve? Because that is a resolve that I'm sure took time. But how was it at the very beginning? Maybe when you had your first child.
Yeah, so I think too, it is something that definitely had to be learned, because I remember when I had my first baby, I was doing Michigan Fashion Week, got married, and then had my first baby, and I had my business was completely on the back burner. But I knew I didn't want my business to be in the back burner. I knew my business needed me. I knew I still wanted to do work in my business. And so when I was at home, for the first couple of weeks, I had a C-section. So the first couple of weeks, months, it's like I couldn't do anything but just stay there and, nurse the baby. And a part of me was, I loved it, but it was just like, I still am not all the way fulfilled. I'm not saying motherhood is not fulfillment at all, but just for me, I knew I didn't want to be at home all day, every day. I wanted to be out and do things. So finding the balance to still be a mom, but yet still be this big fashion mogul. And that took years for me to develop. It took a journey, like you said, it was a journey for me to get out of this hole that I kind of put myself in, thinking my life is done, oh, my career is gone, I have to do this and that. But I had to really just shift my mindset and say, no, I can still, get it done. I have to learn balance, I have to learn different seasons. But it took a lot for me to kind of get out of there. And that's, with the help of my mom, with the help of my husband, just to kind of dig myself out of this hole that I kind of had after my first child.
And imagine how many women do the same thing. They either dig that hole or they have that hole dug for them.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
once you become a mother, now you're a mother. So that's all you need to do, especially in a society where, there's this change of thinking that a woman's place should be in the home and not in the workplace.
Yeah.
And she should just be a mother taking care of children and taking care of husband. But no one understands that, first of all, my place is in God. Let's start there.
Exactly. I love
And
that.
part of my purpose, or my purpose, is largely connected to the legacy that I want to leave behind, which is going to always start with my family, with my children,
Yeah.
being my greatest legacy.
Right.
And so a lot of women are struggling with having kids, and they have this mom guilt
It's a guilt. It's a guilt.
where
Yes.
if I
Yeah.
go to work, then I left my kids home, and my husband is going to think about me a certain way. The world is going to think about me a certain way. I'm going to think about myself a certain way. So maybe I need to stay home with my kids for 6 months to a year. But then there's so much other things that either they were doing or they want to do
Yeah.
that's related to fulfilling who they are and
Yeah.
why they were born. And
Yeah.
there's this struggle between, but like you said, and you said it best, you there has to be more. I want more than
Yeah.
this for myself.
And like,
And
yeah, I think it's okay to want more. I think it's okay to not want to be, at the home all the time. I think that's okay. We're in 2025. Women are out here doing all types of things. It's different now than it was maybe
exactly,
30,
we're not
40
in the
years ago.
1600s. My goodness.
Absolutely. So I did struggle with mom guilt for a long time. And even now, I still think about it sometime. Like, I even have to talk to my kids. Like, I was gone yesterday. Like, can I be gone one more day, or do you want me to stay at home and hang out? So sometimes they're like, you could go. We don't mind. So I actually keep that open communication with my children. If they ever felt, I want you to be home, I'm not feeling good, I have to make that my priority. But even now, my kids are 7 and 9. I still feel that. But you have to understand where it comes from, and then you have to still be okay. It's not, you're not doing something bad to focus on yourself for a minute, to take care of yourself. And even going into that self-care act, it's very important just to take care of mom, because I think that once you're feeling good about yourself, you can interject positivity into your children. I know one of the things when I first had my baby, I didn't get my hair done for like maybe it was a long time. And I remember my grandmother-in-law, she came over, she was taking care of the baby, and she said, Lauren, just go get your hair done and go get your nails done. And I was just like, oh no, I'll just be at home, I do it myself. She said, no, go get your hair done and go get your nails done. And so I did that. I scheduled me a hair appointment, got my hair done and got my nails done. And I felt so
Amazing.
better. I said,
And
wow.
this is the importance of having the older women in our lives,
Yeah.
the mothers and the grandmothers who can say, she ain't gonna say to you, girl, you letting yourself go. But she can say to you, honey, sweet child, go and get your hair done. I got the baby. But
Yeah.
what she really means is them edges looking real rough.
But it really, that moment, I was just like, wow, this is actually making me feel like a little bit, I'm finding myself a little bit now. Like, wait, this is Lauren. Wait, this is where she was at this whole time.
Absolutely.
Maybe it was in the shampoo bowl, or maybe it was in the acrylic gel set. So it's okay to get those things done just to make you feel good about yourself. We're women. We like makeup, we like hair, we like clothes, we like fashion, and that's okay. It's okay if that makes you feel great about yourself. Do it.
You know what was one of the things I recognized and I realized, and I'm so grateful for the coaches that I have in my life intentionally, because when I had my daughter, she's now 2, she just turned 2,
Oh.
and before I had her though, like you, Lauren, I was doing major things. Like I was
Yeah.
about to start stuff with the with my brand. I was always traveling. I was always on somebody's stage. Of course, we're coming out of the pandemic, so I was still doing stuff virtually. And she came along, and it was like kind of my husband, but more so the rest of the world was like, once you have a child, all this stops.
Hmm.
And when I say I was determined,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I was determined to show that from my husband to down to everybody else that my life, my purpose does not stop
Yeah.
because I have a child. If
Absolutely.
anything, and my coach, she coined it well because I think I was just having a moment, a
Yeah.
postpartum moment,
Yeah.
talking with her. And she said, Charissa, you have a new identity
New identity. Absolutely. The new
now
normal. Yes. Yeah.
that now that you're a mother, that's a new identity that you have to get used to.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
was this whole identity, this whole personality that now that I couldn't get rid of,
Hmm.
that I now had to learn to be and live
Yes.
with.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
when I understand that I could never be the person I used to be, which is
Absolutely.
fine, how
Absolutely.
do I now still be the person I want to be in this new identity that I have?
Wow. I
And
never.
so I had to learn that. So I had to learn to, okay, I still want to help people. I still want to service my clients. I still want to be this big mogul in the self-development world, but I still want to be 100% mother to my child.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I got married 4 years ago, I still want to be 100% wife to my husband.
Yes.
All
Yes.
of these are different identities that I'm willfully taking on. No one forced me to get married. No one raped me and forced me to have a child.
Yeah.
So I willfully had these different identities that I accepted and had to learn, how do I now align them? Because now it wasn't even a matter of balancing. It was a matter of aligning
Absolutely.
these identities of my life
Yeah.
so that they can harmonize and flow and still kind of move and play at the same time. Because what I recognize is I couldn't stop being a mother
Yeah.
while teaching on stage.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop being a wife while mothering my child. I
Yeah.
had to be all three of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for my husband who, when he recognized that, and without us even having a conversation about it, he was just, I don't know if God gave him the wisdom, if God gave him the revelation and the strength to recognize that your wife actually can do it all with your help and
Yeah. With
support.
your help. Absolutely.
I was so grateful for his help and support. So when I said, what I don't want is to ever travel without my child.
Yeah.
But if I feel that a particular invitation to speak is one I want to accept, I
Yeah.
want to take it, but I
Absolutely.
want you guys to be with me. So I want to, like you said, incorporate your family. And so he and I had that conversation. He said, sure, no problem. I thank God for the resources, not even in money, for the
Yeah.
resources in a village.
Yeah. Absolutely.
aunts and church aunts, grandmothers, and just friends who I can call on, who we made godmother. So we could pull my aunt and say, "We traveling here, you got to go with us,"
Exactly.
so that my daughter can be with me, so
Exactly.
that I can be on a stage for 2 hours out of a 24-hour day in a different country or a different city, and then the other 22 hours I get to be with her.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
get there's so that is how I was able to align these different identities and create a new normal. It was
Yeah.
never I was never going to be the old Charissa,
Yeah.
and then my husband and I were never going to be the old us when you have a child. But how do
Exactly.
we now incorporate this identity? So I'm so grateful that there's other women like me
Yeah.
who share the same, kind of challenge, if you will. And then there are other women who I show I'm listening, and you've been trying to figure out, man, how do I get back to me, and not the me that I was, just the me that I want to be.
And that's, yeah, and it's so interesting you said that. Like, you'll never be who you were before children or before you were married. That person is long gone. Like I say, Lauren Jordan is gone. I'm now Loren Hicks. And how do you embrace your new identity? How do you mm, change your new identity, basically? And I love clothes. I love all that stuff. And I even encourage women that I do identity stuff for. When you have your postpartum body, you may not ever be able to fit back in your old clothes, and that's okay. I know that can always take a stab at your confidence. Your body image, that's very important. That's, who you are every day. That's how you show up in this world. Like, I encourage my women who may have had body changes from having a baby, from, just married life, maybe gaining a few pounds. Go get some new clothes. Feel good about your new clothes. Feel good about yourself. This is your new body. It's okay. You might never be able to lose those 50 pounds. Not saying we don't try, but the reality is, we're different, we're older, our body takes on new shapes, and we don't want to always have that in the back of our mind. Like, I just want to be back to how I used to be. That person is long gone. So it's gone. She's not coming back. So embrace your new self. Like you said, your new identity. Embrace it. Find some jackets that fit, that make you feel good. So I do encourage women, and just thank you for that. Just, it's a new identity now. You have to embrace.
Which is why the why of anything, whether it's the why of your life,
Yeah.
or the why of your body, or the why of what you do, the why of your work, the why is so important, because when you look in the mirror and you see a different you
Yeah.
that doesn't look like the person you used to be, before you start to body shame, or
Yeah.
before you start to image shame, what is the why that got you here? So when
Hmm.
I look in the so let's be transparent, men. If you don't want to hear this, you're more than welcome to pause for a second. But women, because I know I'm not the only one.
Right.
So for instance, unfortunately, my breasts will never be the same. And now I'm about to have a second child. It will never. When I say never, it will never be the same. But I have to remember, or I just have to connect that. But it isn't that it'll never be the same. It is the way it is, because you brought in a whole new beautiful life into the world, and our body did what it needed to do to make sure that that life was also healthy and whole. And now you get to hold this life. You get to train this life. You get to mold and shape the life of this person that, your body will never be what it was, but this is the why. And so when I look in the mirror and I'm like, ooh, these things are just either voluptuous when I'm pregnant, or now after I've had the baby, then they, become pancakes or whatever it is that they do at that time, and they ain't up in the air no more. You know, I look at both. I look at my daughter and I'm like, ooh, girl, if you only knew. But then I say I will do it again 500 more times if it means that I get to be your mother and I get to raise you. And so my body also takes on a whole new identity. And, and I'm not saying, women, that when you have these thoughts and you have these mindsets, to not address them. So I would address them with a girlfriend, or I would even make sure I have conversation with my husband, we have that talk just to make, sometimes we do wonder if our husbands are looking at us differently,
Yeah.
you know, because they don't sit up like they used to be,
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah.
And just to make, and just so he understands what might be going through my mind at the time, but I also get the assurance that, baby, I'm gonna love you no matter what,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so
I
just for
think
those that, and for me it's breast. For you, it may be something else. But
you know, everyone has their insecurities, about their body, and so I always say play against what you're not insecurities. If you like your arms, play up your arms. If you like your legs, play up your legs. But I also encourage women, just talk to yourself. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're healthy. You're whole. God made you exactly how He wanted you to be. So I every morning I get up, I just encourage myself, talk to yourself, because you do have to build that confidence, because you want to raise confident children. You don't want to show any kind of insecurities to your children. You want them to be confident in who they are and how God made them. I have a 7-year-old daughter. She's really, really tall. So she's just as tall as my 9-year old. And so when we went to the doctor, she's like off the charts for her height. And so I tell her, you embrace that. God made you tall for a reason. That's exactly how He wanted you to be. So, but that came from the confidence that my parents instilled in me. And I have to make sure that I'm instilling that confidence in our children. We don't want to raise insecure women, especially insecure Black women. So God has made us just the way He wanted us to be.
ladies, that is advice from the CEO of Michigan Fashion Week.
Absolutely.
So as we
Absolutely.
talk about the CEO, I mean, you can't get any higher than the CEO of anything, Lauren. But so, and then you're in Fashion Week, so that means there's a lot of, there's a lot of cameras, there's a lot of
Yeah.
lights, there's a lot of
Yeah.
action,
Yes.
and which also means, especially with fashion, there can be a lot of challenges. Those adversities of comparisons,
Yes.
those
Yes.
adversities of social media.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
how have you been able to, and I'm going to use the word balance here, but find that happy balance between with all of that, dealing with that for yourself,
Yeah.
and then also helping others do the same.
It comes down to just really just, for me personally, it's just being grounded in the Word. Who have God told me that I am? I remember when we first did our first fashion week back in 2012, and the show went great. We had over 600 people at our first show. It was just a huge show. And so someone went on social media and did a whole negative blog about me. And it got me to my core. It just hurt me so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening to me. All this negativity, and people are agreeing with them. And it was just like they were talking about me all over social media. And so I went to my dad and I had told him what was happening. And he said, so what? So what? If God's called you to do this,
Exactly.
so what? And so I had to really just bring myself back, and from there just establish a healthy boundary with social media. My business is heavy, heavy, heavy on social media. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's the core marketing strategy of our business. So for me, I had to really just hone down to, okay, what am I using social media for? What's the tool of social media? And had to really learn a balancing act of what to read, what not to read, who do I keep in my feed, who not to keep in my feed. And so I find that we work with a lot of models. And so a lot of models are, some of them are vain, so we had to even just share with them, just make sure you're not comparing yourself. You're not always on social media. You don't find your identity through the internet. So that's one of our biggest challenges right now, is to really just carry that message on to models and other people in the industry, that we have to safely use social media, because that can affect our brain and can affect our how we see ourselves and how we see the world. So I'm really big on just having safe boundaries with social media.
So let's go back to this person writing a whole article, a
Yeah.
whole blog. I mean, even when I think about that, like, they wasted however much time they would have wasted to talk about somebody else
Yep. And the
when they
crazy
could have been.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, they kept it going for year after year. So even right now, if I was to pull it up, they're still talking about me on social media. But it's just, you have to be rooted and grounded. You know, when Jesus was on earth, they ridiculed him too. His own talked about him. So I even get reminded of the story of how they, they crucified Jesus and they talked about bad about Jesus. So it's just those stories in the Bible are there to really teach us and for our everyday lives. You
The
know, if they
principles.
hated Jesus, how much more, I mean, if they hated me, how much more do they hate Jesus? So those principles, you have to live those throughout your life and all the time.
I'm here in Mexico City at the Pave the Path Retreat 2024.
This first day has been amazing.
We tend to look for answers on the outside of ourselves, but a lot of our solutions to our problems are on the inside of us.
If I had to wrap this up in one word, I would use the word transformative.
One thing I learned day one is, I guess, be open to the applause when you have people that are on your side cheering you on.
Transformation is a process, so I don't expect us to get to a place where we're completely transformed. You should never be transformed. There should always be a transforming continually happening.
My relationship to love is that I believe love is something you have to conquer. So I always go for challenging people versus love is something that you find, or love is something that finds you, where then I would date the people who actually want to be with me and not the ones who are avoiding.
If you want to return home unrecognizable, make sure you are with us next year. You don't want to miss such a beautiful experience.
I've already been thinking of people that I want to run home and tell, and I'm excited to come back next year.
Position yourself to be poured into so you can be served from your overflow, but make sure that who and what is pouring into you is pouring in life. It's pouring in empowerment. It's pouring in good, positive vibes, because you don't want to be filling and pouring and overflowing on serving the people you serve with a bunch of oil.
Y'all better come on this retreat.
And one of the things we hear all the time is like I feel that people only talk about you when you're shining. Because if you're not shining, they can't even see you. So when your light is shining bright enough that you either are blocking them, or they can't see what they need to see, or they see you, then they're like, okay, I need to move this shining light out of my way because it's blocking my shine. And so they find all the efforts and mechanisms in the world to figure out, how am I going to put on some shade, or how am I going to shade this? Hence the let's throw some shade.
And then I'm also really big, like we wrestle not against flesh and blood. You know, I am a Christian woman looking to spread Jesus, looking to show the love of Christ. And the devil just does not like that. He does not like the platform that God has given me. And I know I am also, this is not, it's not a corner war. You know, it's a spiritual warfare that's going on in the world right now. So I also am very much attentive to that as well. The devil will try to use people and try to use his tactics to really get to you. So I'm very much aware that our enemy is the enemy.
It is. And let's talk about that. So you're a Christian woman, Christian girl. I love that you said it with boldness, unapologetically, but you're also in a very secular space in society. How have you been able to uphold your principles and your values and your morals?
That's such a good question. I know God didn't put this boldness in me for no reason. I have to be bold in what I do. I remember back in 2013. So we have all types of designers, all types of fashion designers, from dresses to suits to any kind of wear. So you get all types of people who design clothes. And I remember we had we were about to open the show for 2013. And one of my designers, the first dress she had that she wanted to put on stage was a super revealing see-through dress with like nipple covers. And at that very moment in my head, I'm like, I know she should not be wearing that. Like, as a woman, as a Christian, like, this is not appropriate. But at the same time, I'm like, man, but she paid money to be in my show. She, this is something that, she really wants to do. She's a designer. She looks up to me. And so at that moment, it was only like about a 5 minutes where I had to make a decision. Am I going to let this lady go out on stage and it's not going to represent me? It's not going to represent women. It's not going to be a good representation to the show. Or do I let this lady who's paid me, I know she's going to be mad at me. I know her folks are going to be mad at me. She might even badmouth me. But like in that instant, we live the word for instances like that. I had to go with what was right. I said, how I will be just like them if I let this go on, knowing it's not
This
right.
is good. This is good because a lot of people sell their soul, Loren.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
a lot of people sell their soul for money.
For money.
They sell their soul to maintain a not even
Image.
relationship, but to save face.
Save
exactly.
face. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna assume the rest of the story is you didn't sell yours.
Yeah. So I had to go to her and I said, I'm not gonna use her name. I said, I am so sorry. I think your collection is beautiful, but I cannot allow this dress to go on. I can't do it. Like, I'll give you your money back, whatever you need. But she was so responsive. She said, oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, no problem. We'll switch it up. And so she actually, it was a better response than what I thought. But just think, if I didn't do that, how much compromise would have came to me and to my show, knowing my father is a pastor, knowing I'm a Christian. It just wouldn't have been a good outcome. But it was a lot. It took a lot for me to do it. It took a lot. I was negotiating in my head, but it's like, I'm a Christian woman. I stand on the word. The Lord's got my back. I got Jesus behind me in everything I do. So I told her. It actually went smooth, but those are the kind of things that I struggle with, weekly and daily. It's
Exactly. I think we all do.
compromise of being who you are versus what you said. Like, people are trying to save image, trying to save face. They sell their souls, and my soul is not for sale. And the devil gets mad when you say stuff like that. So,
And there's nothing like living purpose and being an example of the kingdom of God and of the word in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And that and this is why, because purpose is not a spiritual thing. Purpose is not a religious thing. I don't want people to ever believe that if you talk about purpose, then you have to talk about God, or you have to. No, purpose is a principle.
It's a principle.
Whether you're religious or not, purpose is a principle. Whether you are Muslim, Hindu, Jehovah's Witness, whatever, atheist, or Christian, your phone and my phone has the exact same purpose.
Wow. Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Your purpose and my purpose, everybody else's purpose is it may be different, but it's the reason why you were born.
Why
it's
you
the
were
reason
born.
why
you're
anybody
here.
was born. It's the reason why you are here. It
Yeah.
is the why. Now, whether you decide to uncover that and fulfill that and live that out is totally up to you.
Yeah.
But your purpose is for you, and would God love to see His will for your life come to fruition? Absolutely.
Yes.
And we are better examples. We are better used in spaces where it's darkness. And the secular world is darkness. And for your light, Loren, for Lauren's light to shine, and that person to be every year after year after year saying she's shining too bright, she's shining too bright. I need to, put some shade, means that you are doing the right thing. And the right, like you said, in that moment, you had to do the right thing. The good thing would have been, man, my face is saved, my image is saved, I get that money. But the right thing is, no, I can't represent the God that I serve. I can't represent other Black women who I'm trying to mentor. I just can't represent if I allow that. And even if it did go the other way with her, it still would have been, you know what? Okay, at the end of the day, you would have still stood up for what you believe, for your values. And the why is what makes that easy. You know how many times, Loren, my dad would say to my brother and I, there are many invitations he got throughout the year to speak, to come and be a part of an event. It was always for the main speaker, or they needed consultation, or whatever the case may be. I mean, he got thousands of invitations every year, which could have made my father millions, millions of dollars. And do you know that no one could have paid him any amount of money to do anything and to be a part of any project that wasn't aligned with his purpose and his platform? And he always looked at the theme of the event and the topic they wanted him to talk about. And if it wasn't along the platforms that he talks about, kingdom, purpose, potential, leadership, marriage, prayer, no matter how much they was charging, no matter how big their platform was, he always said, not, I'm either unavailable, or I can't come, or not this time, or whatever the case may be. It was always a decline. It was always a decline. And I think I even asked him why, because at some point now, my brother and I and my mom would be a part of this process of reading through and accepting the invitations. So I got to see the process of him accepting and denying, accepting and denying. And I'm like, why would you deny that? Why would you turn that down? And he started to share. And then I just started observing. And he said he always looked at a few things. And if it did not align with who he was and who he was becoming, with no question, he turned it down. And I mean, never once looked at it, never once wished it went a different way. And I'm like, man, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to have my purpose so strong, have knowledge of my purpose and my potential, that I don't have to say yes to every opportunity that comes my way, because it might not be for me. So, his platform was in deliverance, his platform was in healing. These things are still great, but they weren't his, they were somebody else's. So if you wanted him for that, he's going to tell you, unless you want this, this, and this, I'm not the person for you. That's what he was saying. Go and find somebody else who can do that. And there were many other pastors and evangelists their platform was about healing, and their platform was about deliverance and spiritual warfare. But for Dr. Miles Monroe, it wasn't his. So the why made his no very easy, made his yes very easy, made his decisions very, when the horse wears those blinders, like, it made his decisions very focused. And that is why I do a podcast like this with persons like you, because I want people to see that purpose truly comes, Loren, in all shapes, sizes, textures, colors. So it doesn't have to be the same, doesn't have to look the same. You don't have to be in church. You don't have to be in the same arena somebody is. You could be anywhere, truly displaying and fulfilling your purpose, and it be obvious. Your mom is your mom is a politician. Hello, you know what it is to be a politician in this environment right now that we in? My goodness. But that's where it's needed the most. That's where purpose filled, kingdom filled people are needed the most.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to that you share, how you've been able to still withhold your ground.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have stories upon stories.
And I love how you said your purpose is never too big or too small. I think sometimes too we're like, oh, well, maybe this is not good enough. Like, for example, if you know someone that just loves to clean floors, oh, maybe, I just love to do that. But maybe that is your purpose. Maybe you're meant to be the best floor cleaner, having your own business, having corporate clients. So never underestimate your passion or your purpose. Like you said, it comes in all shapes and sizes. It's not, if you feel like that your purpose is not big enough, that's not true. Everyone is needed in the kingdom. Everybody is needed in the world. So don't feel like your purpose is too small or too large. So that's a good nugget right there.
And then that requires a certain level of thinking.
Yeah.
And one of the things you and I talked about off stage was fighting against old thinking. What has that been like for you on your journey?
You have to, like I tell people, whatever you're going to do, be the best at it. Educate yourself. Continue to be a learner. You're never going to know it all. Continue to read books. Continue to listen to podcasts and YouTubes and elevate your thinking. I think it has to be a mindset set shift. Encourage yourself, talk positive words. I think you have to actively change your thinking in order to change your thinking. So I think that it's important that we all just continue to be learners and just continue to educate ourselves and be the best. If you want to mop floors and be the best floor cleaner out there, guess what? Learn about the floors, a different kind of floors, a different kind of mops, different kind of chemicals. Whatever it is that you want to do, be the best at it. I remember when I was growing up, I had told my parents I wanted to do fashion. They're like, fashion? I don't know if you go to school for fashion. You got to do something different. But I always knew, I said, if I'm going to make fashion my career, I got to be the best at it, you know? So I have just made it an effort to continue learning. I still take every once in a while, if I have some time, I'll take a little fashion class or I'll listen to a couple of podcasts in the morning. But you have to be a continuous learner.
If you had to give one example of a old thinking that you had to exchange for a new thinking, what would that be?
Good question. Just not being generous. I remember I was just really stingy and selfish back in the day. I would not, you know, I was not really a true giver, a giver of knowledge, a giver of love, a giver of money, anything. I was just, you know, kept it to myself. No, 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 this is for me. But over the years, I found out that you have to be a giver. You know, you have to give to the needy. You have to mentor people. And that's a way of giving back. You know, you're mentoring someone and you're not getting paid for it. So over the years, I just see how important you must be a giver. I mean, that's a principle in the Bible, you know, give and it will be given back to you. So just over the years, I've just learned to be generous. You know, people need help and they may not be able to return the favor for you. People might need a resource and they can't get it back to you. So as I just learn and grow in business, you have to give back. You have to give to people.
Any idea where that initial, I'm going to use this word, stinginess came from? That
Just being just,
tightness?
you know, I don't know, that's a good question. I think just being me and just being selfish, you know, I was just a spoiled kid maybe, you know, so that could have stemmed from it.
And do
No,
you think it was because you were the only, well, you were the only child, but after a while you were the only child. So let's
yeah,
talk about that. Let's
yeah,
talk about, you weren't always the only child and then
yeah.
something happened.
So yeah, so I had a brother, my brother, growing up, that was like my A1, that was my friend. We, you know, being PKs and, you know, in the spotlight, family in the spotlight in the community. You know, I had somebody, you know, with me. I had somebody running with me. And you know, I lost my brother. He was young. He was 31 years old when I lost him, and I lost a real chunk of myself. You know, I no longer had a confidant. I no longer had anyone I can really just like shoot ideas off of, and he'll come over and help me clean up and stuff like that. So I lost my brother. He was at a young age, and so that changed just overall of how I view myself in the ministry and with my parents and stuff like that. You know, as your parents age, you know, some things you have to take on, and I know I have to take on that as I by myself. I don't have a brother anymore, so that I had to really just, pains like that, it never goes away. You just learn to live with it, you know. So I encourage anyone that's, you may have lost a loved one that you really, you really were close to, it's a pain that you live with, but you just have to keep on asking God for peace. You still have your moments where you break down, but I always ask the Lord, just give me peace. Give me peace that passes all understanding. I have to envision him at the throne room of God. So it's just some things you have to learn to live with and cope with on your own.
And I know, because I know you and the family really well, I know that was a hard time, especially for mom. You had an amazing brother, and taken away from us so young. But I know what it is to have a brother, and I can't imagine what it would be to then one day not have my brother because he was just taken away too soon, and it would be very difficult. I know he and your mom were really close. Um, but like you said, that pain never goes away. And now here, my brother and I are together, and we've lost both of our parents, and it's been 10 years, and that pain does not go away. You truly just learn. You do learn to live with it. You do become stronger over the years. So the pain can still be just as big as it was, but you also grow. over the years. So then as you grow, the pain hasn't shrunk, but I've grown in my resilience. I've grown in my strength. I've grown in my joy that I find in the Lord. And so the pain is the exact same that it was. I mean, huge. But over the years I grow, and so it just makes the pain, dealing with it and learning to live with it, a little easier. But it's still very much there.
Yeah. And then also just, let their legacy lives on through us. My brother was a very generous guy. Like, he would give the shirt off his back to someone he did not know. And so, as you just reflect on their life, you learn to, take on some of those qualities that they have. And my brother loved everyone. He never judged anybody. He was just a loving guy. And so I often think about, how can I be like, what would Jared do to
Well,
this?
where did the
What would Jared
stingy come from then?
Because he would give me everything I wanted. My brother spoiled me. He'd give me
Uh,
snacks and it'd be mine. And he'd be like, yeah, just go ahead. So I don't know where, I don't know. I haven't uncovered or unwrapped that yet. But I've just learned just to be generous. People don't have as much as we might think they do, but just
we
be.
must pay homage to him for your generosity. And I'm so grateful for your generosity now. Your generosity is showing all through Michigan Fashion Week. The people that you mentor now get to glean from this generosity. It truly is one of those things that's um, definitely necessary,
Yeah.
right? To me, it sits right on the same line as gratitude.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Generosity and gratitude, both, they're like two G's
Yeah.
in a pot, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I love the exchange and fighting the old thinking and having to exchange it for new thinking that'll, serve you
Yeah.
well. 'Cause sometimes it's not easy.
Now, since you think, I gotta think about where that came from. But also, after I had kids, I couldn't be stingy and selfish anymore. Your daughter wants some of your cake. It's like, okay, here. So, those things just naturally have to just change. When you have children, you just can't be selfish anymore.
Hmm.
What's yours is theirs too. So I think that also had a lot to do with it as well. But I thank God that He just, have softened my heart and just being generous and being a giver.
Absolutely. Because then now, there's also, and what is why mindset to me is so big,
Hmm.
dealing with mindset shifts. And as you uncover and uncover the levels of purpose,
Yeah.
then there are different mindsets that's needed, because more than likely the uncovering is occurring as you grow.
Yeah.
It's occurring as you mature. It's
Absolutely.
occurring as you experience life. Therefore, every day or every year or every season, like you talked about earlier, of your life is different. And so there's a different mindset
Yeah.
that you're gonna need 2 years later when you uncover another level of your
Absolutely.
purpose. There's a
Absolutely.
different way of thinking when you now have a few more zeros in your business account than you did 2 years ago. Now there's a different level of thinking. So
Absolutely.
now you're on a millionaire mindset versus just a thousandaire. That's the word I can use.
Yeah.
Mindset.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? Are you willing to make those changes when you go from platform to platform? When God is expanding your audience, there's
Yeah.
a different mindset that you have when
Yeah.
you're speaking to 50 people.
Yeah.
There's a whole different way of thinking that's needed when you're now speaking to 5,000 or 50,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are you willing to make those shifts? Or is it going to be a fight? And
Yeah.
so I can only imagine the fight that was going on. Even the fight of, am I going to let that dress go? Or am I going to say, no, we can't do that. It's
Right.
against my morals.
Yeah.
You can be on somebody else's stage and that dress would be perfectly fine. But here, for me, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so there's that fight. And I'm glad that these things are happening as you are walking and living out your
Yes.
purpose. It's because I want people to understand that when you discover and you uncover and you find your purpose, it don't get easy. It don't
Yeah.
get easier. Like, I actually found that it gets a little tougher,
Yeah.
a little more challenging,
Yeah.
a little more rough.
Yeah.
Um, but again, that's because as you discover your purpose, your light shines very bright.
Yeah. And it's
And
like
when it
everything
starts,
you've heard over your years, it's like it's now coming into play. You know, you hear verses and you hear different sayings and you're like, oh, where does that fit in? But now as you grow, you're starting to see, oh, this is what they were talking about, or this is where it fits in. So
exactly,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. And then, having to recognize just that even though it's not easy, it doesn't mean that it's not for me.
yeah,
It's just that the more you shine, you're canceling out darkness.
yeah,
And the king of darkness don't like to be canceled out.
yeah,
So like you said, the enemy is going to always try
yeah,
and find a bushel to
absolutely.
put over you so
Yeah,
that, your light don't shine so bright.
yeah.
But, podcasts like this are created just so
Glad to
you
I'm
have the
glad to be
encouragement.
here.
Oh,
Yes, we must do this again. We must do this
yes.
again. So thank you so
Yes.
much for having me here as a guest. So
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, as we close, give us the best advice that you can give to the lady and guy listening, that if they ran with it today, it could change their mindset.
oh, that's so interesting. One is write down your plan, write down your life plan, write down what you want to do. The Bible says write your vision down and make it plain. Write down your life plan. Trust in God every step in the way, and then just be the best you. Be the best you that you can be. Everyone else is taken. Be the best you.
Everyone else is taken.
That's
That's good.
my advice. So write it down,
Everyone else is taken.
seek God, and be the best you.
Be the best you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from a great, beautiful woman of God. Lauren, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you
I
so
hope
much
that
for
lives have been
having
changed. I hope that minds are already starting to
me.
up
Yes,
level.
absolutely.
Um, you've just been a gem. You've just
Thank
been a gem,
you.
dropping gems.
Absolutely.
Before we go, we must end on my favorite note,
Okay.
because one thing I may be a lot of things, but one thing I definitely am is a foodie.
Okay.
So I want to know what your favorite food is and what is your favorite restaurant.
I am an all-American kind of girl, so I love pizza. I love an extra cheesy pizza.
Is it really?
Pizza is I can eat pizza every day. Yes,
So
I
do
can.
you ever cross over the border to Chicago to get a really good
So,
pizza?
I like Chicago style pizza sometimes. I have to be in the mood, but I like Detroit style pizza the best.
Well, I gotta try the
Yes.
Detroit side. I actually
It's
thought you were gonna say Chicago or New York, but
okay, New York. Okay,
any
those
pizza
are
that I
good.
can fold, we got a problem. If I can fold you, no.
I like the thick, greasy crust
Yes, that's it.
on it. So I do.
Girl
And
after my own heart.
restaurant, I like Buddy's. So if you ever been in Detroit area, Buddy's Pizza.
No.
Okay. Okay. Next time you're here, you gotta go to Buddy's Pizza.
Okay. You gotta
Yes.
tell hubby that.
Go to Buddy's Pizza. Yes.
Buddy's Pizza. We'll
Buddy's
definitely try it.
Yes.
So please let the audience know where they can find you, how they can connect. What do you have coming up that you want people to come and be a part of?
For sure. So you can connect with me on IG, Michigan Fashion Week, MI Fashion Week. You can go my personal IG, Instagram, Loren D. Hicks. You can go on my website, LorenDHicks.com, MichiganFashionWeek.com website. We're actually planning we have a big modeling event coming up next month. And then from there, we've got 2 fashion weeks this year, one in June and then one in September. So we just got a lot of stuff coming up. Please, if you're in the Detroit area or even in surrounding area, want to be involved, want to come to the show, feel free to reach out to me. And if you want to shoot me an email, my email is Loren, Loren, at MichiganFashionWeek, all spelled out.com. So I'm looking forward to replaying the show, looking forward to connecting with you, Teresa, and just love this, love everything. So God is good. And so I'm just glad to be here.
Thank you, Lauren. Now you know where to find her, so make sure you get connected. And
Yes.
you've been here listening and watching another great episode of the Purpose Finder podcast. I'm your host, Teresa Monroe Wilborn. And until next time, see you soon. Bye. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Finder podcast. I hope today's conversation lit a fire within you, because purpose isn't just something you chase. It is something you live every single day. If this episode resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more people on their journey to purpose. Let's continue the journey together. Join the Purpose Finder community on Facebook for exclusive insights, tools, and a tribe of purpose-driven people just like you. And remember, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Your purpose isn't far off. It's already within you. It's time for you to uncover it and live it boldly. Until next time, stay inspired, stay intentional, and keep walking in your purpose.